What is up, y'all? Welcome back to the Get Ellievated Podcast. It's your girl, Ellie Talks Money, and I am so excited to bring you guys another great episode. Listen, you guys know that on the podcast, we talk about elevating your life, elevating your income, elevating your wealth, and today is no different. This episode, listen, I need you to get your notebooks out. I need you to get a pen. I need you to sit down somewhere because the sauce is about to be crazy. So let me introduce you to my guest. Listen, everything you need to change your life is already within you. You need to believe that it has to work or it has to work. You got this. Scale your business, make more money, create your best life, and let's get elevated. Welcome to the podcast. All right, y'all, we are back with the Get Ellievated Podcast. And listen, I need to just...
Oh, God.
No, really. I need to just introduce y'all to Justin. Justin is not only amazing, but this is a really good friend of mine. This is Uncle Justin in our household.
Yeah,
okay,
Uncle
my kids
Jay.
call him Uncle Jay. And he's about to give y'all some amazing sauce on all elements of business.
Yep.
So, Justin, introduce yourself, please. Let the people know who you are.
Yeah, sure. So, name's Justin P. Started a business in 2012 called Support Black Colleges. We started taking it seriously in 2018. From 2018 till 2023, we did a little under $10 million in sales. In the process of exiting that business now, and then now I'm just teaching people how to do what we did, and we've been doing really well with doing that as well and having a ton of fun doing it.
Having a ton of fun. So, tell me, what have you learned? What's some of the top 3 things you've learned going from Support Black Colleges and that, business to now what you're doing and teaching people how to do that?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing that I learned was that all of the skills that you have, they compound and then they're easily transferable. So when I was doing Support Black College, I just learned so many lessons, where it was learning the lesson of how to actually keep up with money, how to steward money properly, how to manage 30 plus employees, all of these things. And then I thought, and it was crazy because I had a moment when I was all right, I'm doing this new thing. Will I be able to do it again?
Yeah.
Realistically, because it just seems like such a far shot to do it again. But then I just took all of the traits and skills and, beliefs that I had from there, and I just applied it to this new business, and it just went a lot faster. So I think the biggest thing that I learned is it's all about the skills that you build, the beliefs that you build, and the character traits that you build as you're doing business. And it's never really about the money that you make. And that's one of the biggest lessons, because I told this story before, but it was we had $12,000 in the business bank account and payroll was $12,600. I took $600 out of my own bank account, put it in the payroll, paid it, had no money left at all in the business, but we had 30 employees. So I took everybody to the back of the warehouse and I was like, hey, we don't have any money anymore. So if you want to stick around, it's solely because you believe in us and you believe in what we're going to do. And I know that we're going to be successful. And then we went from 30 employees to 3 in 2-3 days. And mind you, 2 of the employees is me and my business partner. so
basically
and
one.
then the last one was his sister. So we lost everybody. But when I went home that day, I took a shower and then I asked myself, who am I without this business? And because I had my identity so tied into it. So it was I was so tied to the influencers that we were working with and the money that we were making and all of these things. But when I sat down and I didn't have anything, or I didn't have any of that, I was like, who are you really? And then I realized it was all of the character traits, all of the beliefs, all of the skills, all of the relationships that I built throughout the process that actually mattered.
Yeah.
And then I was able to take those and transfer them, because if you strip Elon Musk of $1 billion right now,
He'll
2
go get
days
it
from
right
now, he's
back.
going to get it right back just
Yeah.
because of everything that he knows already. So that was one of the biggest things that I learned, just transition, is that those skills are transferable, but you got to learn them the hard way.
You got to learn them.
Most of
I
the time.
love that.
Yeah.
So let's say an e-com business is at rock bottom like that. $0 in the account, inventory to sell. What does someone do to get back that next dollar?
Yeah. So I remember this. It was crazy because we had to just pretty much shift everything to organic at that time. So, we're coming from spending maybe $5K a day in ads. Then when you get around Black Friday time, $100K a day, $90K, $100K a day. And then you get to a place where it's we can't do that now. So what do we do? So, what I would have done, what I would do right now is a little bit different from then, because this was a little bit of a different time. But right now, it's so easy to just do organic because TikTok is just giving traffic to anybody that's posting. So
you can go viral in 3 seconds.
Literally. So all I tell people to do is it's okay to be a copycat as long as you copy the right cat. So what I do is I go on TikTok, go to the search, type in my niche, filter it by last 3 months, most liked videos, and it shows me every single thing that's going viral in my niche. And I don't imitate it, I emulate. I like draw inspiration from it. And then I do it in my own way because it's already proven. So why am I sitting here with no money in my account, racking my brain on how I'm going to reinvent the wheel? And I'm like, no, I'm just going to do what works. Like success leaves clues, billionaires leave blueprints. And I just take what they do and do it in my own way. And then we were able to like post a ton of content and then do really well with that. And that in combination with a bunch of other things. But that's what I would do. That's what I would do right now if I was like, I need to get some money online in my e-com business. I would just go all organic content right now.
And that's what anyone can literally do right now.
That goes for any business, like digital, physical, it doesn't matter.
That's what anyone can literally do. So now I want to ask, how have you been able, because first of all, you're basically famous on Instagram.
Oh, God.
No, because I have to get this off my chest, because Justin has more followers than me now. I used to be the one telling Justin, I'm like, you need to post more.
Right.
Why aren't you posting on Instagram?
Right.
And now you're like at 1 million followers. I don't even know. I stopped checking your page because I'm like, you know what? I'm not going to harbor these feelings. This is my brother. So what are some of the tools and strategies that have helped you to build, crazy fast, right? And, we know how it works, but like you've really done it in a way that is fast.
Yeah. So one of the biggest things that I did was I just went in my course and then I went down all the modules and I'm like, I'm going to just post all of my course content online because the real value of the course is that it's packaged in a way that delivers a transformation from A to Z. Yes. But when you go online and you just post stuff, you got to search it. You're listening to people on YouTube and Twitter and Insta. You don't know who to believe or what's right, what's wrong. So what I did was I asked myself this question because I needed to build a bank of content that would never run out because like you said, I'm not a content creator.
Right.
Like, I'm a businessman. You know what I'm saying? So I was like, all right, what can I talk about infinitely, and what do people in my business need, but what is the same thing that they need that no one's talking about? So I realized in the e-commerce business, everyone needs a supplier and a manufacturer. Everyone wants to gatekeep their supplier and manufacturer. And if I do that and talk about that, I can talk about that forever because there's never going to be a lack of suppliers, manufacturers, new brands, etc. So I was like, all right, I'm just going to talk about that. And then together with that, I'm going to just put all of my course information out online. And so I started doing that, gained a ton of followers. So within the past like 4 or 5 months, I've gained like I'm like at 700,000 followers now. So that's what I did. And then, we can get real crazy.
Need to get into the gritty.
Okay. So I gotta do that. So one of the biggest things that helped too was, a mini chat when we talked about that.
Big plug.
So mini chat was dope because if you guys notice when you check out the content, I always say comment whatever word, and they comment that word, they immediately get a response back from me, and then they get an instant DM. But what happens is when I'm posting and they comment, my comments are flooding within the first 5 to 10 minutes. I'm responding back, and now Instagram's saying this is a good piece of content, and it's pretty much forcing the virality. And then what I do from there is any post on my page that's doing better than all of the other ones. So let's just say on average you get 1,000 views, but then one thing you post gets 10,000. I'll take that and then start putting money behind that, but on shout out pages. But I have like a string of them that I use, and I just graduate the post up the line. So it's like first we take it to Black Wealth Crew, see if it does well there. Then we take it to Hollywood Unlocked, see if it does well there. Then we take it to Spiritual Word, see if it does well there. Then we take it to the Shade Room, see if it does well there, because they all go up in price. So that's kind of, and then doing that, right now I'm gaining probably like 2,000 followers a day, but when I was like really into it, I was gaining like 10,000 followers a day. And that was the exact strategy.
So literally it's basically testing out your own content, and then when you find what works, put money behind it.
Exactly.
And get in front of more people.
Yeah, and then the good thing about it too is that when you do it that way, you see what content works short form. Now you graduated to long form. So now if I was gonna do YouTube, I would be like, well, this post about this did well, let me make a YouTube video about it, because clearly people like that topic.
And then you're never running out of content.
Yep.
So one thing I want to ask you is, you mentioned that you take your course, pieces of your course, and you create content on it. Now, so many people would say, well, if you give away all your information for free, who's going to buy. So how do you find that balance?
Yeah. So for me, I just had to realize that information alone is not valuable.
Correct.
So, and that's the big issue. People think that information or knowledge is power, and it's really not. It's like packaged knowledge and applied knowledge is actually power. So, the thing is that if information was valuable, everybody would be rich. Because there's information on YouTube, Google,
everywhere.
Twitter, Snapchat, like
GPT,
it's everywhere.
It's everywhere.
But not everybody's rich. So why is that? And it's because you're going all these places to find information, but you don't know who to trust. You don't know who's real, who's fake. And you also don't know how to apply it. You don't know how to actually do it, even if you do have the information. And then there's still nuance there too, because if you're like a cleaning business versus a clothing business, if I tell you how to do this, it's not going to apply the same anyways. So the way I look at it is that like most people, they get information and then they get so much that they're either confused or they're overwhelmed. And then a confused mind does nothing.
Yeah.
So I just want to be a hero and give as much information as possible. But the real value is the packaged information that's from somebody that's there to actually help you along the way and there to give you nuance on your situation as you're going through it. Because if you just take a piece of information, try to apply it, you know, it may work, it may not,
but it's not enough.
You'll probably still need help. And then that's what's beautiful about what we do. We post all of our best content, then people use it, and then they might get success.
Exactly.
And then when they do get success, who do they want to work with? They want to work with you, and they want to pay you even more because you just gave them all this free information.
Yeah.
They can only imagine what's in your paid information.
And that's exactly it. You should never be afraid to give away more because it just draws more people to you.
Right.
And also, if you are afraid to give away information, it's because you don't know enough.
That's a fact. And that's why we were talking about it earlier, like always investing in yourself and all these masterminds. Because my boy Marcus said this. I thought it was really good. He was speaking and he was like, the reason that you got to keep investing in yourself is because when you have people that are coming behind you, you invest forward to learn more and then you teach backwards. So if you ever stop investing in yourself, you're going to stop and only be able to teach it to a certain level. So that's why I was like, all right, that's beautiful. Like just continue investing forward so I can always teach backwards.
You can always teach back. So let's do a scenario.
Okay.
Someone is getting started, right? They want to jump into the online space. Okay. They know some stuff, right? They've done some things. They want to go and start creating courses. They want to know how they can build a brand and start making sales. Yeah. What are those first key steps that they need to do to solidify themselves and make money?
I think first you have to identify your messaging. I think a lot of people don't understand who they're actually talking to. So like for me, if you ask me, I'm like, I help people start or scale their online business with physical products. Simple as that.
Period.
So I think if you can at least get that messaging statement done, then that's a good place to be in. And then after that, it kind of just depends on a few things. Like if you got a little bit of capital, you can do some other stuff. But if you have absolutely nothing, what I would personally do is like right now, and even me and Justin were talking about earlier, is like you have to build a community, whether it's a community of your following or a community on like Discord or, you know, whatever platform it is, because your goal should just to be to get as many people in your community and give them as much free information as possible so the community continues to grow until you feel like, okay, this community is so valuable, I have to start charging for this because you're building the product as you're doing this thing with your community. So start the community, build the product, give it to the community for free, make the product better. And then once it's in a place where it's like, okay, I got to charge for this. This is too good now.
It's too good.
Then you start charging for it. And then that's when you get into organic content and whatnot. But there's so many different vehicles. You got video sales letters, you got webinars, you got challenges, and we can go a ton of different ways.
Okay. So let's go. Right. So I want to ask you, You've done very well in your business. I'm not going to put your numbers out there, but you've done very well. So what do you think is the number one, like if you had to choose any tool in your bag of tools to make money, what would it be?
That's good. I probably would say webinars. It's my favorite. I'd say webinars. Webbies, they just.
So what's the secret to a good webinar, Jay? Because at the end of the day, we don't want to spend 5 hours on a webinar.
Right,
I'm sorry.
Right.
So what's the secret to a good webinar and how do you get someone engaged?
Yes.
until the point that they stay
Yes.
for the pitch at the end.
Yeah.
What are your secrets?
So secret to get people to stay in general is, number one, I like to just, do something at the end of the class. So a live Q&A. Sometimes we'll give out $500 or $1,000 at the end. That typically gets people to stay for the longest. So, that's how I get people to stay. But getting people to be engaged in the anatomy of a good webinar is very... That's the biggest part of it. Like, you have to understand the psychology or you won't make money in the game. So just to give you the anatomy, I'll try to be brief. You got intro, you got content, you have transition, and then you have the close. So intro is all about recent results, credibility, authority, celebrity, what you've done for yourself, what you've done for other people. Content is all about what you're teaching the audience, but you have to break it down. Most of the time it's in 3 secrets. And secret number 1 is typically the vehicle. Secret number 2 is internal. Secret number 3 is external. So the first thing is that the way you get them engaged is they're coming in here and they don't know, like, they're trying to learn something, but they don't know what they need to be doing. And they've been taught so many different things.
They've watched a ton of YouTube videos.
They got Amazon FBA, drop shipping. Yeah. It's just so much stuff.
So many things.
So your first objective is to get them to believe that the vehicle that you're putting them in is the right thing for them to do, because they are here to learn and we're doing the wrong thing, but it's not their fault. So one of the ways that you get them to engage and, relate to you is you show them that, like, hey, you were doing the wrong thing. It's not your fault. It's all of the people's fault that was, teaching you this misinformation. And then you knock down all the beliefs around all of the other business models or things that people can do. So for me, if it's like I'm teaching ecom, well, we teach like longevity businesses. So this isn't drop shipping where like you have a product for 3 months and then the trend dies. This isn't Amazon FBA where Mr. Jeffy B hikes up the fees to 50%. So I'm throwing rocks at all of the enemies of them. And then I'm also confirming their like conspiracies, because they're like, I knew dropshipping was bad. I trust this guy now. Because if you had like some weird, conspiracy, like, oh, I believe in aliens, and I came in here was like, bro, aliens are crazy. Like, you would relate more to me because I believe the same thing that you do. So you do vehicle, you place them in the right vehicle, tell them all of those things are wrong and this is right. And then you go internal, because even if they believe they're in the right vehicle, they still don't believe that they can do it. Ellie, you're great.
Right.
Everything you touch is gold, but I can't do it. And then you get them to believe that. So, and then lastly, the external, because like, all right, Ellie, I believe that I should be doing this. I know that I can do it now, but there's a lot of stuff out there that's stopping me from doing it. So for my business, it's like, well, Justin, yeah, I believe e-com's the right thing. I know that like I can build a website for myself, but I don't know how to run ads and get influencers and like all of this other stuff. So once you teach them to get in the right vehicle, tell them that they can do it, and then eliminate all of the outside stuff, then they'll be ready to even listen to your offer. And then now you go into the transition, and the transition is super important because
you see I'm sitting up.
No, this is good. This is important though, because you got to do it the right way. So basically, if you have delivered in your content and actually delivered some sort of transformation, this part should be easy. So it's like, hey, did I deliver on my promise of giving you the 3 secrets to teach you X, Y, and Z? Like, was it worth the pretend investment that you had to make at the beginning of this training? Because I always say like, hey, these are wires of people that sent me $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 to teach this. You're getting it for free. So all I'm asking for you is just to commit to me, then pretend like you're giving me $10,000, because not everyone was as lucky as you are today. And then at the transition, so now I'm like, so was it worth the pretend investment? And then let me ask you this. Do I have your permission to show you something that is the best bet for you to be successful in this industry? And then you lean back. So the lean back is important because you want to sell from your back foot. And you say, like, do I have your permission? Because if not, like, my girlfriend's in town, like, I can leave right now. I'm good. This information could possibly change your life. It's already changed mine. I don't need to be here right now, but because it's true. And then if you did your job, they'll be like, yes, yes, yes. And then you go into the closes, and the closes are just helping people make a logical, they're justifying the emotional decision they're making because you just help them believe in themselves with logic. So, one of my favorite closes is like, cost or investment. And then I'm just always like, I always had a bad relationship with these things because I would always ask, what does it cost to, like, what's the cost of the course? What's the cost of the book? What's the cost of the program? But then my life changed when I started to ask myself, what does it cost me not to do it? Right. And then the thing is like, because if you come into this training today and then 365 days from now, you're still in the same place, it cost you too much. So the way I got into the game was I took $100 coaching call, and that was my first thing I ever invested in. But what if I would have never did that $100 coaching call? It would have cost me everything that I have right now. So you have an opportunity to invest in yourself, and maybe this is the first investment that you make that'll lead you to where you need to go. So that's very logical. So that's what you do in the close. And that's the anatomy.
I'm ready to buy. Where's the product? So that makes so much sense. Like when you break it down like that, I think so much of the time when people are in this space, they just think, a sales pitch is, hello, here's what I do. Right. You can do it too. Here's the product. Right. But there's so much more psychology there. There's so much more emotion there. And I want you to explain to the people, how much time do you actually spend detailing out what's in the product? And does that matter? Yeah,
that's good. So the way that I talk about the product is I actually just show it, because I believe that you should allow people to make a decision from the inside. So I think about it like real estate. Yeah. So it's like, if I'm asking Ellie to invest in a house, I'm not going to be like, hey, Ellie, here's this nice house. I promise you it looks good inside. Like, give me $1,000. Like, I'm not going to do that. So I'm going to be like, hey, like, what if I just showed you a sneak peek of the course information? Because it's all there. Like, I want you to make a decision from the inside. So the way that I structure it is I go sneak peek of what's on the inside. And then I go, this is the price of it. And then after that, then I stack all of the bonuses up. Because if you're thinking, oh wow, like this was already worth $1,000 or $1,500, and then you just added on a ton of bonuses that knocked away their limiting beliefs even more, then they would be lying to themselves if they didn't make the investment in themselves, because they literally are just like, yo, I have all these issues. Your bonuses solved all of my issues. Why would I not buy?
Why would I not?
Yeah.
So what
my bad. To answer your question.
Yes.
15 minutes on the intro. I'd say probably like an hour on the content, 45 minutes to an hour. Okay. And then 5 minutes on the transition, and then the rest close until the job's done.
Until the job is done. Yeah. So you're closing, you're answering questions, you're almost like repitching, you're closing again. Yeah. So you are in a space where you have e-com, but you also are teaching people. You're definitely in the course business, you're in the coaching business. Yeah. What are the differences, right? Yeah. When we think about what are the differences in marketing each one, what do you think are the biggest differences between the two, and which one do you like more?
That's a very good question. So I think there's not really that many differences, only because one is obviously physical, one's obviously digital. Yeah. That's pretty much it. But at the end of the day, you're trying to communicate value to the customer. And Alex Hormozi always talks about value a ton, but it's like, can you give your customer the dream outcome? Can you give them like the perceived likelihood of actually achieving that outcome? And then can you minimize the risk that's associated? Can you minimize also the time and delay to the value that they're getting? And then the effort and sacrifice that they have to put in. So I'm going to try to be brief on it, but like, let's just say for the physical product business, that sounds cool, but like, what does it mean? And it's like, all right, well, the dream outcome for someone is like, I want to look good in these clothes. So how do you do that? You take very good lifestyle images. You show very close shots of the product and the details. How the perceived likelihood of achieving it. Well, can I add in a lookbook? Can I add in a digital product showing, this is how you style it? Can I add in a size chart? Like, there's a bunch of things that you can do to help them feel like they can achieve it. And then time delay. Can you get it to my goddamn door fast?
Right.
and then lastly is the effort and sacrifice, because every product that you sell to someone, there's a level of effort that they have to put into it because they bought it. Like, I have to do something now. And then sacrifice. So if you think about it like working out, it's like, okay, I want to be lean and whatnot, but the effort I have to put in is going to the gym. The sacrifice I have to do is I can't eat cookies anymore, but I like brownies a lot. Like, right. So that's kind of the difference. What do I like more? I think that I get more impact from the teaching side, because I can just teach one person to be like me and then impact thousands of people. That's kind of my favorite.
And that's like it's such a true transformation. Yeah. I think that the impact is what's very addicting. Right. I know that's how I feel. Yeah. And we were just talking about this before. The income is always a byproduct, right? So when you're building this business, when you're focusing on how can I just transform more people, the money's going to come. For sure. So we've discovered that webinars are your tool of choice if you had to choose. Now I want to know, how do you get the people in the room? Like, what are some non-negotiable systems and some game we have to have? Because people can sign up, but are they going to show up?
Right. Yeah. So on average, you see people get like a 30% show rate. And this is the game that I gave Ellie. I'm like, in our group chat, this is
Listen,
what I
we
told
got a
Ellie.
whole $1 million group chat, y'all. It's amazing.
So, when you're getting people to show up, I mean, most of the time you're either going to be doing organic content or you're going to be doing ads. A quick breakdown on how I personally do the ads is 2 ways. One, you take your content that's actually valuable and then just put a call to action to click the link below. And that's how I'm able to like have a ton of ads going at the same time, because I'm just taking my content and put a call to action at the end of it. The other framework I like to use is call to action, value, hook, call to action. So call to action, hey, this Thursday I'm doing an absolutely free training where I'm going to be showing you how to start or scale your business. That's very direct, because most people aren't watching more than 5 to 6 seconds of these videos anyways. So at least you know what I got going on. Then you go value. So this Thursday I'm doing absolutely live training where I'm teaching you how to do X, Y, and Z. One of the best ways to do X, Y, and Z is blah, 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 blah. And you give some actual good value that can really help someone. So for instance, if you want to scale your physical product business, the best way to do it is through influencer marketing. But we do indirect influencer marketing where I actually target the stylists, because the stylists are actually picking the influencers' clothes. And this is the script that I use to reach out to them. If you want to get the full script, come to the masterclass on Thursday at 8 p.m. XYZ. So now you're hooked to get that piece of value that you want by coming to the masterclass. And then the systems that that you're talking about, we use Active Campaign for our email. We use Simple Texting for texting, and then we always have a backup of mobile text alerts just in case
it gets a little crazy.
And then we also do ringless voicemail, which I told you about. So what we do is we have 3 ringless voicemails that we send out. One is right when someone registers. Hey, this is Maria from Justin's team. I'm going to be your success advisor, and as your success advisor, like my first thing for you to do is just show up to the masterclass on Thursday. Pretty simple. Then the day of, you have someone else from the team, a ringless voicemail gets sent out. Hey, what's up? This is G. I'm on tech for Justin's team. We're just making sure that you're going to be in the room. Just wanted to remind you that we're going to get started at 8 p.m. Justin can't wait to see you. Then an hour before, it's a ringless voicemail that's from me. And it's like, yo, what's good? It's Justin. I'm just making a few phone calls really quickly. I just you were one of the last people to register. So I just wanted to make sure that you actually show up, because our software can only hold 5,000 people. So, I just want you to be there. I don't want you to miss out. I got to make some more calls. I'll hit you later. And then you see that boost the show up rate tremendously. But
it literally works.
Yeah. I know you put it in place.
I put it in place, y'all. It really works. And you know what we found? Not only did more people show up, but they were also more engaged. And we got a lot of DMs of people like, hey, I got Ellie's voicemail. Like, that was so sweet.
Right.
And of course, you're not calling every person individually. But to the customer, we took that extra step.
Exactly. Yep.
And in this space where they're getting information all the time, that little extra step results in 20% more people coming, 40% more people coming, which leads to higher conversions.
Which is big. And I didn't even tell you some of this stuff that we be doing. I might as well just,
Come on.
So one thing that we've been doing too, which has been working really well, is we make a Shopify page for our course that we sell at the end of the webinar, because when you're trying to we use Affirm with it. So you make a Shopify page and you use ShopPay, which is Affirm. So now people can easily get into it, because Wise Bank and all of these people are always declining. They're always declining, but Affirm is pretty much always approved.
Pretty much always.
So we pitch, try to get the paid in fulls, and then at the end we'll be like, hey, and if you couldn't, you could use PayPal credit, but you can also use ShopPay, and more people get approved on ShopPay than PayPal credit for us. And then lastly, what we just started doing, this is crazy, because it gets you an extra 15 to 30K every time, which is crazy. So basically what we do is at the end of the class, we'll be like, hey, it's just us now. There's a couple hundred of y'all in here. Obviously, you're trying to make this work. Who in here doesn't have the funds available to make this purchase? It's okay. I get it. Me. All right, look, this is what we're going to do. I'm going to drop a phone number in chat right now. This is my sales manager. I'm going to give you 24 to 72 hours to get your money right, get it together. So all I want you to do is text this phone number with your full name and the time you want us to call you so we can pick up the phone. All we're going to do is just take a payment. That's it. Because you already know you want this. So once we do that at the end, you get like 20, 50 people to text. And they just like, yo, I just needed a little bit of time to get some more money. So then we just have the closers call, hey, what's up, Jill? This is so-and-so from Justin's team. You ready to make your payment? This is the time you said.
Yes.
And it's done just like that. And then lastly, too, another thing is like what a lot of people don't do is that when you make the pitch, you're so funny. When you make the pitch, tons of people's cards get declined, but they never get reached out to. So we always have a closer on standby at the webinar, and they call everybody whose payments got declined. Hey, saw that your payment didn't go through. I know that you want this thing. I mean, we can do, whatever, crypto, Cash App, Vim, like whatever, like it doesn't even matter.
However you want to pay.
EBT, like, but we do that too. So just a bunch of different ways to, I mean, these people want this product at this point. So,
And that's so smart because you're not letting a lead go to waste.
Right.
I think a lot of the time, if you end the job too soon, think about all those potential people that aren't coming all the way through because we ended too soon or because there wasn't an extra way or having that additional payment, even just having someone on the back end to call.
And then now we do that on the front end too, because I think we were talking about this where it's like, you getting all of these leads and I'm getting maybe like 20, 40, 50,000 leads a month, but no one's like, if they don't show up to the webinar, what happens to them?
Yeah.
So what we started doing too is on the front end, right when someone registers, we just call them. And then we just ask them like, hey, saw that you just registered, whatever. Hey, did you want to like come to the training and like get this X, Y, and Z information? Or did you want to like talk with somebody about how you can work a little bit more closely with Justin? So when you call 20, 40,000 people, maybe like 5 to 10% of them will just go straight to booking a call without even wanting to come to the webinar anyways. So now if you kind of do the math on that, let's just say on the low end, 20,000 leads, 5% of them book a call. That's 1,000 extra calls. Your closers are at 30%, 300 extra people getting into your program a month. And then maybe your program's $6K, but you only collect 50% of it. So $3K times 300, you just added $900,000 a month in the business just by putting people in place on the front end to just call because they didn't want to go to the webinar. They just wanted your higher ticket thing already.
They just wanted to go direct to working with you.
Yeah, and that's just like one small thing that like I don't even see people talk about or do that you can easily put in place. Like very easily, very quickly. Yeah. And so, a lot of this that we're talking about is definitely applicable to those of us who have larger followings. We get a lot of people, right? But what I think is true is that even someone who's just beginning, you could still run these plays. You should be doing this.
You should on a smaller scale, right?
But literally almost on the same scale, even if you can't hire someone to do it, you should do it yourself. Because if someone's coming into a lead in your business and you don't have a lot of capital to invest, you better be calling everybody that comes in and seeing what's going on because it's market research as well as more opportunity to make some more capital as well.
So what do you think about how do you feel about the landscape of coaching and courses right now? I think that it's definitely a little different than it was maybe a year ago, maybe even 2 years ago. I think that for us to get a customer, we have to build a lot more trust. We have to spend a lot more time. There's a lot more people out here just doing stuff. People have been copying your content. And I'm like, wait a minute, that's my friend. Don't do that. Why are you posting this? And you know who created that, So how are you shifting your business and what things are you going to do differently to combat that? Are you?
Yeah, that's so good. So number one, you're right. You have to build a lot more trust. And what I'm seeing a shift happen, and me and Justin and me and Damien were talking about this, is that there's a shift in people that are going to actually have the information that they're giving out and they actually practice it. So you're seeing a lot of people not being able to live up to the promises that they're delivering and talking about because they don't actually practice the business that they do. And naturally, the real will rise and the fake will, whatever. But the thing is, like, I think even Warren Buffett says it is like when there's a low tide, you see who's swimming naked. So it's like you was covered a little bit because, everything was good. The economy was great. But then when things start to fall, you see who was actually out here doing being real and being not being real. But for me personally, what I do is I have the luxury of actually practicing the business and one of the few people I feel like that actually made more money in their actual business than teaching. So I can just give all the information for free because I'm actually perfectly fine with doing that. But now, as you see the copy income, what I feel like we have to do is we have to do things with the resources that we have that others cannot do. So since we've been able to be real and be compensated for being good at what we do, and as well as the impact, etc. Now we have a little bit of extra money. So what I've been doing lately is consulting, more like higher notable people, and even like paying to do some certain things. So masterminds, as well as like just paying people to collaborate too, because the brand new person that's just copying the point up video can't go out and pay, Funny Marco or whoever it is $20K to do a video together. And, I mean, that's not something that I did, but anyways.
It's an example.
So and then now when you're actually someone that's doing it, people are reaching out to you. So when Wallow and Gilly and Earn Your Leisure and these people reach out to me to help them build their business, I now document that. And when I put that content out, you cannot recreate that because you do not have that relationship. So it's been a lot more community building, a lot more relationship building, and a lot more documenting the process, because I mean, it's just what we're actually doing.
And just doing the thing. When you're doing the thing, you don't really have to worry about anything else because you're doing it. And I think that's what's key, right?
For sure.
You're going to be able to anyone can tell the difference between someone who is doing it and someone who's just talking about doing it. So let's say we have an entrepreneur who's watching, right? They've gone from having their best months, 6-figure months, and now maybe they're at 20K months, 10K months, right? And this is a reality in business. On the online side of it, right? The digital side of it, what steps would you have them go through to assess why that happened and how to get back? And what systems would you have someone implement to go from back to making money?
I'm trying to think, because I remember when we was like not making money on the physical side, and what I had to do was like really assess where the money was actually coming from. And I feel like a lot of entrepreneurs don't truly understand their business and their numbers and where money is coming from, because typically, even when I was in the physical product space, I had a mentor, and I was more like a consultant. I was paying him like $6 to $8K a month just to coach me, because I realized that like I didn't have the skills that I needed to manage that business properly, and I wanted him to transfer me the skills in 3 months rather than me learn the skills myself in 3 years. And one of the first things he told me, he was like, "How many products do you sell?" And I was like, "I mean, we probably got like 300 to 500 SKUs like in clothing." And then he was like, I was the president of Coach, and Coach had 6 bags until they hit $1 billion in sales. He was like, "You're selling too many things, and none of your all of your products aren't superior." So he said, "What I want you to do is go look at your business and see that obviously 80% of your revenue is coming from 20% of your products, and I want you to just eliminate all of the other products." And then from there, that was one of the first big moves that we made. And then on that side, we had to draw back our ad spend a bit. But sometimes I don't even want to tell newer people to do that, because I think Henry Ford has a quote about it where I got to look it up, but it's like, trying to like stop marketing to like save money is like trying to like stop a clock to save time.
It doesn't work.
It makes no sense.
And so on the digital side, someone's selling courses, they're selling coaching, they're selling services, and their revenue is dropping. What systems, what tools, what steps would they take to get it back up?
First thing that's coming to mind is I feel like they probably aren't investing a lot in their product, because when you see revenue drop like that, it's typically because, man, we were just talking about this, is that people are investing so much in the marketing,
right?
And they don't realize that if you have a good product, then you don't need to market. So if you just take the time to scale back maybe on your marketing a bit, maybe that's the first kind of thing you put in place. Scale back on your marketing a bit, look at your product and your community, see what they're asking you for, and invest money into the product and making it sweet. You would never lose any more customers because the product is actually good. So I don't know. I feel like I
think that's the number one thing I was just going to say, because that breeds confidence. And when you have a great product, product that's achieving results, people are proud of it, you have testimonials, all those things, you're not selling it at that point,
right? You're
just saying like, this is going to do this for you.
Conviction is just so like just there. That's why even on the webinar, like we talked about, hey, do I have your permission to share with you what I know to be the best way to be successful in this? If you don't truly believe that, then people will be able to like kind of smell it on you. And then they're just like, oh no, you don't truly believe in
They'll
this.
be able to tell. Yeah. And that can definitely bring your business back to life. Going back to the core, going back to the impact, going back to the product, and really revisiting what's the whole purpose behind what you're doing in the first place.
Exactly. Like you said earlier, it's like people are focused so much on the income. One of my favorite quotes that I've heard is like, if you focus on the passive impact, then you will create the passive income. So it's like, bro, just focus on your product and how many people you're impacting, and then I guarantee you'll make money.
Yeah. And I do want to ask you this, because we talked a little bit about ads, right? And I think a lot of people are intimidated by ads if they don't know how to do Facebook, but you do shout out pages. So what's been a really good structure and system? Come on.
You're doing what you're supposed to do.
Because I'm like, somebody needs to know this. What's been a really good structure and system to do shout out pages well? Because they work.
They do work.
They work.
So what most people aren't doing, well, even what I wasn't doing, I didn't have any setters in my business. So most people are just like answering their DMs themselves, and they're kind of like back and forth or whatever.
Those days are done.
It's just, we can't do it anymore. So what we do is, even if you have a small amount of money, you can invest in a shout out page, because the goal is, it's just to get people to come to your page, and then you use your content as your calls to action. So to use the shout out pages correctly, you want to use a combination of the shout outs and a setter, and you might be your first setter in your own business. So, hey, I pay Hollywood Unlocked to take one of my best performing posts and then post about it. But the key is to make sure that it's branded to the page that you're posting it on, because if you just take the same piece of content, put it across all of these pages, the context is lost. So you have to make the post contextual to every page. And then once you get the people to come to your page, you do a few things. We like to do like a 3-step story sequence. So the first thing is a poll, because when you do a poll and people interact with it, it opens your stories up to everybody. I remember when we talked about that, you were like, bro. So at first I was getting like 3,000, 5,000 views on my story. I started doing polls first, and then I was getting like 15, 20K views on my story. Huge difference. Then after that, you show a testimonial of someone being successful, and then after that, you give a call to action, whether it's DM you, whatever. So then when people start flooding your DMs, now you go into qualifying these people, and then you qualify them to see, are they in the right process or mind frame to take your product or your service or your coaching or whatever? Do they have the funds available, and actually care about where they are in the business, and if you can actually help them? Because you don't want to work with people that you can't actually help. Book them for a call, and then now you can so the cool thing too is that if you're just getting started, maybe you want to just book calls with people just to like give them your product, just to ask questions to see what do they need, what do they want, or you can sell them something. And that's a big way that I don't see a lot of people, maximizing the shout out pages in combination with the setters.
Listen, when you gave me that in January 2023, a lot of things changed.
Hey, look, come on now.
And that's a really key thing, y'all, that, if you're listening to this episode, if you're watching this, you got to execute.
Oh, yeah.
Like, y'all, the things that he has just said, you really just got to execute on them.
And this is my new rule. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say that one thing that you said, the 3-story setting, that can change your story views today.
Yep, literally. So this is my new rule that I've adopted now. Is I have a information and execution ratio. So whenever I go study for an hour, that's information. I go execute for an hour. So most people get stuck in the information, but they never make it to execution. So I don't want you to get addicted to information, be allergic to execution. So what I do now is my ratio is, if I study for 3 hours, I'm executing for 3 hours. If I study for 1 hour, I'm executing for 1 hour. And that's really helped a lot.
I love that. Yeah. That's really good, actually. It's a 1-to-1.
1-to-1.
1-to-1 ratio.
That's it.
And then you're always outputting, because you're so right. We are in an information heavy society. There's YouTube, ChatGPT, just all the things. Right. But you can easily get stuck and be paralyzed if all you're doing is trying to learn more, when really you just got to start.
That's it.
And you know what I love about what you're saying too is it didn't start perfect. Like all these systems and tool bags that tools that you have in your bag, you didn't start with these.
Not even close.
You figured it out.
Yeah. Like my favorite quote, I hope I came up with this. I'm not sure. But if I didn't, then I owe somebody.
Right.
But I always say, like, get it going, then get it right. So it's all about just getting it going and then getting it right afterwards. And I think that that's like been a big proponent of the success, because when I first got started, I was chilling with my boy Neo, and then he was like, yo, bro, write everything down that you know and put it in an ebook. I'm like, all right. Then I just wrote it all down. And then I posted it one day and I made like $1,000 or something. And then, but that was the start of getting into the information age. And then I was like, all right, now I need to go learn everything about this space. And that became a love for this space, and then an obsession of like becoming the best at it. And it all started from just that.
And I think that's really key, Jay. It's like, you got to be obsessed with it. You know, if you're going to go and decide to teach people anything, love it. Right. Love it 100%. Be obsessed with it. Really want to be in it, because people can also feel that. Yeah. And I think your success is attributed to how much people know, like, you really do this. Yeah. And regardless of if you were online or not, I'm very confident you would still be talking about this stuff.
Yeah, of course. Like
it's really what you do.
Yeah, it's just fun. You know, you just like, this is what we do all day. So like, I was doing it at first, and I was doing it for free. Now I just get paid to do it.
Now you just get paid to do it. So, I mean, it's a win-win. Right. So, Jay, you need to tell the people, where can they find you? How can they connect? Like, if they want to get their ecom bag up, if they want to get their digital product bag up, like, where you at?
So, Instagram is Justin P.
Yes.
TikTok is ecom Justin P. Same thing with YouTube, ecom Justin P. And, you know, come follow me. If I give you some value, then, you know, maybe you'll do business with me one day.
He's going to get to 1 million followers very soon, y'all. So let's make that happen. Well, I think we need a part 2 to this episode. Oh, yeah. So if y'all want a part 2, if we need to dive a little deeper into the sauce, make sure that you guys comment below, and I will definitely have Jay back. All right. See y'all in the next episode. So if you want to be on the next episode of Get Ellievated, or if you want to be in touch with me and the team, then you can email podcast@getellevated.com, or find me on Instagram and email me at hello@ellietalksmoney.com. Either way, we cannot wait to have you on the show and have you apply to be a guest for a part of the live business coaching. I'll see you guys soon.